When you finally found the place your heart's been searching for, I believe there will be deep inside a newborn feeling. In my time I've traveled far, I have scanned the distant shores, but what I sought
Greetings of peace and a very good evening, everyone. And a very warm welcome to another conversation in conjunction with Brahma Kumari's 40th anniversary celebration. I am Celia and I'm very, very honored and privileged to be the anchor for this evening's conversation. I know many of you are following these conversations with some of Brahma Kumari's Malaysia's close friends and contacts, and I'm really so sorry that the previous one, which was supposed to be held on 24th of October, was cancelled by the speaker due to unforeseen circumstances. So our sincere apologies. But now, this evening, we are very, very fortunate to have with us a very warm, a very special, a very spiritual and unique person, Dr. Amir Farid Isahak. So, Dr. Amir, you are there. Welcome. How are you? Great. Okay. Good, good. Can hear you. Look great. Okay, let me start by introducing Dr. Amir to all of you. Well, Dr. Amir is a medical consultant who has his own private practice, and he now practices holistic integrative medicine. And what does that mean? It means that he combines both modern, natural, nutritional, and energy medicine with even Qigong. And on top of that, there's special interest in aesthetics, anti-aging, and regenerative medicine. And Dr. Amir is a champion for interfaith harmony and is very active in interfaith activities. Let me share with you some of the responsibilities and positions he's holding now as an interfaith champion. He is the chairman of INSAF, which means Interfaith Spiritual Fellowship. And this is one of the oldest, I believe, interfaith organization in Malaysia. And he's been holding that chairman position for 23 years. Wow, that is an amazing record, Dr. Amir. And he is also the ambassador of peace and a member of the board of advisors of the Universal Peace Federation of Malaysia, and is very active in that as well. He is also the Vice President of Harmony Malaysia, an NGO promoting peace and harmony among people of diverse races, people of different religions and cultures in Malaysia. And he was the former member of the National Interfaith Committee under the Prime Minister's Department for 2010 to 2019. He was also a former trustee of the Global Council of URI, United Religions Initiative, and he held that position from 2006 to 2012. Well, Dr. Amir, you must be very, very active. So a very warm welcome to you to this conversation series, and we are very happy to have you with us. And instead of being so formal, you are like my spiritual brother, and I get to know you through this conversation a lot more. So is it okay if I call you brother?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. So brother, you have been and you are still very passionate about promoting interfaith understanding and harmony in the world. And you have participated in numerous interfaith programs and dialogues and conferences in many countries around the world over a long period of time, I think almost 3 decades. So brother, can you briefly share with us how you got involved in the faith activities, in spirituality?
Certainly, thank you. Thank you for the kind introduction, Celia.
Your voice is a little bit like not clear, not sharp.
Okay. Is it better now?
Yeah, that's a little bit better.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. First, allow me to greet everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. May the peace and the mercy and the blessings of God be upon all of you. Om Shanti.
Oh, Shanti.
Actually, I was not interested in spirituality or religion until much later in life, when I was kicked in the back by God to become more religious, that is, to become a better practicing Muslim, when my personal, professional, and financial affairs were in a tangled mess about over 30 years ago. Then I was pulled into the spiritual path by fascinating events that I cannot describe here. However, I have written some of these in my blog. Suffice it to say that God Almighty sent many spiritual masters to take me under their wings and guide me. And this includes 6 Sufi masters or Sufi sheikhs. They were from Cyprus, Malaysia, USA, Tamil Nadu, India, China, and Malaysia again, in that chronological order. In addition, a Hindu guru from Coimbatore, India, and a local evangelical bishop also told me they had received divine instructions about me. And most surprisingly, through the Nadi leaves, the ancient Siddha sages of South India also told me they are guiding me. So quite a fascinating story. As we go along, I will share more about how I got involved in the interfaith.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Brother Amir, I have known you for a long time, I think some 20 years ago when you first came to know about the Brahma Kumaris. But was it really only the other day that when we chat that I come to know your amazing spiritual journey? I think you shared a lot more than here today because of the time. So was it through the interfaith activities that you came into contact with the Brahma Kumaris? How do you know us, the Brahma Kumaris? When do you first come to know about the Brahma Kumaris?
Okay, I actually first heard about BK from a friend who had been to Mount Abu and told me that it was a wonderful, spiritually uplifting experience, and said that I should go there someday. And that must have happened about over 25 years ago. Then, sometime around 1998, 1999, I attended a talk by the late Dadi Janki. I was attracted to attend the talk as she was proclaimed as the most stable mind in the world. So I must go and listen to this speaker. And then, in fact, it was at that event that beloved Datin Paduka Mother Mangalam, the president of the Pure Life Society, approached me and requested that I lead INSAF, the Interfaith Spiritual Fellowship, which is the interfaith arm of PLS. As he mentioned earlier on, it's already over 23 years now that I am chairman. It's because Mother refuses to let me retire. Several years after that event, as chairman of INSAF, I was invited by the BK to moderate a dialogue between the late Chief Buddhist priest, the most venerable Dr. Sri K. Dhammananda, a dialogue between him and one of the BK global leaders. And then since then, I've been invited to many BK events, and I've been a speaker at several of these events. So this is my how I got to know the BK and got involved with BK. There's more to come.
Okay.
Yes.
That is wonderful. And through the friend, you got to know us, and then Daddy Janki. I believe you met Daddy Janki after that as well, because you attended the Inner Voice, the Interfaith Retreat in the Brahma Kumaris Global Retreat Center in Oxford, outside of London, I think way back in 2011.
Yes.
Yeah, and upon your return, you must have got some good experience there. Upon your return, because you wrote a very long and beautiful article called Golden is Silence, and
Silence is golden. Silence is golden.
Silence, yeah, silence is golden, and it appeared in the Star newspaper. So, can you talk about that? Your experience there? Share with us your experience in the retreat, and you have been benefited because you also wrote something about meditation. So, what have you benefited from that retreat way back in 2011 in London?
Yes, I have met Daddy Janki on several occasions, meaning I've been at the places where she was. And one of those places was at this global retreat in Oxford. That was indeed a very special experience, and I will never forget that. What more, I got to stay in a palace for about 1 week, because the Global Retreat Center was formerly the palatial home of British aristocrats, and had hosted monarchs on several occasions. The theme of the retreat was the inner voice, exploring the impact of inner stillness in our lives and in the world. So what we did during that retreat was that for every session and for every new discussion, we began with a minute silence. And then for every hour, we observe a minute silence. You know, on the dot, then there'll be a bell, and then the soothing music will be played, and we would stop everything we were doing and just retreat silently into ourselves, clear our minds, and be ready to continue whatever we were doing with a fresh, clear start. This hourly minute silence is regarded as traffic control. That is, it serves to unclutter the traffic jam that often exists in our minds the moment we wake up and start thinking about the things we have to do and the problems that surround us in our lives and our world. So the main purpose of the retreat was to practice inner silence so that we can start to listen to our inner voice and to discover the power that this inner silence can bring. We cannot hear the inner voice if we are busy talking at the same time, and we can also listen to others better if we remain silent. So it was a good experience, a good training, and I found this very useful, practically a way to also stay calm and grounded, because we all have a lot of clutters in our mind, and it's a good thing to do once in a while, to stop everything and then reflect. Of course, I don't do it hourly now, but whenever I remember about this, then I do, to have a fresh start.
Wonderful. So you also mentioned something about the meditation there. So you were very lucky. You were taught meditation by our beloved Dadi, who have left us, and by very many seniors there as well.
Okay.
Is it okay? You have gone subtle. Okay, I know you're listening. So you were very lucky to be guided, I believe, by Dadi Janki and Sister Jayanti and many seniors there. So you, what was the experience that you have with Dadi Janki? You know, Dadi Janki, you say she was one of the most stable mind in the world.
Yes, yes.
What was that vibration you said that you had experienced from her and from the other seniors?
When we say that she has the most stable mind in the world, it's actually been verified through machines that studied her brain waves, and this is verified in some university in the USA. And then you can see that she really has a stable mind because she is like so solid, so grounded, so calm, like nothing. I think even if an earthquake happens, also she will still remain calm and be in charge of the situation.
Yeah.
Right? To have that kind of master teaching and guiding you, not just in meditation, but also the wisdom that comes out of her. All right, and of course she's ably assisted by others in the training team, and they were all just superb and marvelous because, well, their teacher, their master, is also such a superior meditator and with a superior mind. That's my comment on Daddy Janki.
All right, thank you so much. Well, brothers and sisters, you would like to read the article? We have put the link in the chat box, so you can click on it. I'll copy that link and you can read the article by Dr. Amir Farid, which appeared in the Star in 2011. Luckily, he was able to retrieve it. I didn't have a copy of that. Okay, great. That was wonderful. Thank you so much for that. And then you were very fortunate, actually. In March 2019, amidst fear and uncertainty when India and Pakistan were on the brink of war, you were so courageous and you went to India to participate in a two-part event. One part was in Delhi and the other part was in Mount Abu. So can you also share your experience, the team
Okay, I'll be
of
very
that
glad.
retreat or something like spiritual response to time? I let you share all of that. And I was very fortunate to be your companion for that trip.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah, this was indeed another memorable trip. Right, it was between the 7th to 13th of March, 2019. Again, I was privileged to be a guest of the Brahma Kumaris, and Sister Celia assisted me and Ms. Sharon Kamaluddin, the other Malaysian guest, throughout this trip. Thank you once again, Sister. The first 3 days we spent in the Om Shanti Retreat Center, that's just outside Delhi, and about 30 international guests participated in the conference themed Spiritual Response, ... Critical Times. And among the participants was the charming former Vice President of Argentina, Honorable Ms. Gabriele Michetti. So she, the Vice President of a country was there with us. And then I appreciated the teachings and the sharing of the insightful wisdom shared by Sister Jayanti about knowing ourselves and spiritual grounding before we can become agents of peace and agents of change. Now, most of us want to work for peace. Most of us want to bring change to the world. But if we ourselves are hobbling from side to side, we're not going to be effective peacemakers or agents of change. The others who participated also contributed their views, and we learned much from one another. The third day was conference. The conference was in the Indira Gandhi Stadium, where the wisdom of the BKs and some of the international guests was shared with the public. With many thousands of them had flocked to the venue. Right? We were also feted to superb performances and even entertained by hilarious magicians. So it's not just all serious meditation and
I interrupt you for a while.
I remember the magician was so hilarious.
Brother, can I ask them to share your photo? I couldn't send a message to them. I think you have got some photos to share on that trip, right? Brother Karan, I don't know why I can't send a message to you.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this first one, brother. This is the second one. Yeah, this one. Yeah, sorry, the first, sorry. Please, the earlier one.
Yeah. Let's move that.
Yeah, so you were in Om Shanti. Okay. Thank you, brother. So,
then on the fourth day, we flew to Udaipur, a historical town, en route to Mount Abu, where
where the spiritual oasis of Brahma Kumaris, the Madhuban, is situated. There we spend the 3 days savoring what is called the Mount Abu experience. This is what those who come back will always tell you, you must go, you must go. It's because of this experience. And this is where we really got to know the BK community real close and observe and join their lives real close, including waking very early for meditation. And it was fun. I really enjoyed the stay, the hospitality, the fresh cool air, and the wonderful, wonderful scenery around the place. It was up on a mountain, and it was mountains all around. Not to mention the sumptuous vegetarian meals cooked and served with love by volunteers. Okay, you may want to know what I feel that I learned from this sojourn with the Brahma Kumaris, right? From the programs that I attended, and then from the retreat in Oxford, and then the conference retreat in Delhi, and then in Madhuban. I want to share with you what I feel what makes the whole experience worthwhile for me. First, I learned the power of good intention. The entire Brahma Kumari phenomenon began with the inspired good intention of one man, Brahma Baba, the founder, who then persisted against all odds, including facing persecutions and legal challenges in court, to realize his vision of global spiritual organization, preaching godliness and goodness. Secondly is the power of meditation. The secret behind BK's success is their regular meditation. They start meditation at 4 a.m. and do so again several times throughout the day. Their minds are focused and powerful. Their meditation and discipline in life make it easy to become spiritual and lead spiritual lives. They have shown the addict mind over matter is true. With their good intentions and their disciplined, focused minds, we have seen what have materialized under their guardianship throughout the world. You know, thousands and thousands of people. In fact, they have over 10,000 centers. So that you can just imagine how many people go to these centers. Thirdly is the power of spiritual cooperation. One spiritual mind can be very powerful. Now imagine the combined power of many spiritual minds can certainly change the world. From the start, Brahma Baba trained 8 ladies to continue this great mission. Now we have hundreds of powerful, trained, disciplined, good-hearted, spiritual BKs, both men and women, spreading the good message and doing good work throughout the world. All right? I think they are in over 140 countries. And lastly, that God responds to goodness and good people. It is amazing to see the success of the BK organization over the last 85 years or so. I think they began in 1936. Brahma Baba would have been extremely pleased, but it is not entirely unexpected. Because the mission he began and the discipline he inculcated are formulas for success. Good people always be attracted to goodness. That's why many throng and come into BK. And God always rewards good intentions and good efforts with success. In the end, our efforts are only the prerequisites to God's response. What happens next, the results, the outcomes are entirely His to decide according to His wisdom and justice. But God is the most wise, most just. He rewards good intentions and good work with success. All right. Yeah. I think I wanted to make it clear that I am in awe of the Brahma Kumaris organization.
Brother, you are more fluent or know more of the Brahma Kumaris organization than many BKs. Some of them do not know the history as well as you. So amazing. That's why I start from the beginning that you have an amazing person, very spiritual as well. And yeah, through the years, I think even from the beginning, Brother Amir, you have been close to the Brahma Kumaris. Even though you have been very open, even though you are a devout Muslim. I know even now, before you start the program, you ask for a room to pray, and which is very good, because we are not here to change anybody. This is what you are believing. We accept everyone as they are. And so you have been the speaker for some of our programs, and every year we organize the United Nations International Day of Peace, and without fail, you would also join us for those programs and interfaith programs. So, brother, just now you have shared about the Brahma Kumaris a lot, but our teachings, the meditation and the knowledge, you must have taken a lot. And how do you integrate with your spiritual life, the teachings you have taken from the Brahma Kumaris, and what you are practicing as a very good Muslim? How do you integrate these two? How do you do that?
The spiritual teachings transcend religion.
Yeah.
And I have benefited much from the wisdom and the teachings. I like the BK teachings of meditation for inner peace and wisdom, leading a disciplined, principled, and righteous life, and service to humanity regardless of race, social status, or creed. These are what I feel have changed people's lives so much, such that the BK became so popular and successful and grew into a global community. Now it is in so many countries with members and friends from many nationalities, races, cultures, and religions. Again, the teachings of Brahma Kumari are universal. They help us to be more focused and more prone to succeed, whether it be in our religious or spiritual pursuits or on business and secular matters. The same discipline applied to different fields is bound to bring you success.
Mm-hmm.
What another thing I like about the BK is that they empower women. You can see women make up the majority of the BK leaders and teachers. All right.
And not all. In some also, we still have in Malaysia, we still have the brothers who lead. But many parts of the world, and especially Brahma Baba, in those days when the women were not much respected in India, he really has done a lot to uplift the women folk. And so, Brother Amir, when I had read your biodata, you wrote very beautifully, and there's one line, and I'll never forget, is that at the end you sign off like that I love everyone, I love all of humanity, and I want to encourage as many people to love others too. And this is really something very amazing and unique. Do you know that our theme for the Brahma Kumari's 40th anniversary is also something like that, on love, and that is unity, respect, and love. So what are your thoughts on this theme, firstly, on what you wrote, and how I'm tying it together with unity, respect, and love? Because you very openly share that, and how do you do that in your practical life?
Okay, as you mentioned, those are the same principles and values that I practice and preach. Because unity, respect, and love are three of the most important spiritual principles. Let's talk about unity first. Right? I am a Muslim, and a Sufi. And from the Muslim Sufi perspective, there are three aspects of unity. First is the absolute oneness of God, or unity of God. Secondly, the oneness or unity of humanity as one family under God. And thirdly, the unity of purpose between man and God. That is, mankind will fulfill the purpose of his creation and be successful in his earthly life and in the hereafter by submitting to the will of God, which means following the commandments and guidance given by God through the scriptures and through the prophets, right? I must remind again that I'm giving the Muslim Sufi perspective. But unfortunately, there is much disunity among humanity from ancient history until now. We all know. And this is because of the lack of respect and love between us. God, in his wisdom, created us into different races, colors, and cultures. We then further divide ourselves into clans and nations. You can add political differences to that, right? There's a lot going on now. And religions divide us the most. God, our Creator, commands us to respect and love one another despite these differences. Therein lies the challenge to us. Because of national, racial, and religious bigotry, prejudice, and supremacy, many who profess that they believe and love God have no qualms in defying God's command to respect and love the others, all right? So they say they love God, but they ignore that command that you must love everyone. They ignore God's pronouncements that all are equal and that the best among us are those with the best characters who promote peace and uphold justice. And for those who believe in religion, of course, their faith and practice are important too. So, what about respect? Respect of the others means honoring who they are, what they choose to believe, and how they choose to live. Of course, when we live side by side in communities, there are bound to be potential problems and friction because of our differences. For example, Muslims may have issues with halal and non-halal stuff when living among non-Muslims. But if the community members respect and love one another, no problem is insurmountable. Respect breeds tolerance, understanding, and acceptance of the others. Respect is the foundation of any relationship, and love is its fruit. So let's talk about love. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, once said that no one is a true believer unless he loves all of humanity and all of creation. This is from an authentic hadith. When you look around here, obviously many local Malay Muslims ignore this. Because if they love the non-Muslims, they will also be concerned about the rights of the non-Muslims, not just about Malay Muslim rights. In fact, many of them don't even love their fellow Muslims. So what you see around is not necessarily what is taught by the Prophet and the Quran, and meaning what you see being practiced by the Muslims is not necessarily Islam. So what do we mean by love? If you love someone, you will want to be sure that that person is well and safe, and you would offer whatever assistance and protection that he or she may require, right? Henceforth, I'll just mention he, but be sure that I mean he or she. You will be caring, compassionate, and forgiving towards him. You'll ensure that his rights are respected and protected. You will feel a bond such that you too will be affected if he is hurt or suffers in any way.
Of course, the love for others is not as intense as the love for your parents, for your spouses, your children and family, right? But that when there is love, there is that bond that you will feel the pain of the other. And how much you care about the other reflects how much you love that person. Okay, it's so nice to talk in theory. But what about
Yeah. How you
Yeah.
walk the talk?
what about my practical experience? Okay, so as a Sufi, I practice and preach the wise, beautiful, and loving interpretation of Islam. As with every religion, there are many interpretations of how Islam should be practiced. You know, the Taliban and the Al-Qaeda and the ISIS have their versions. Over the years, especially through my interfaith activities, I have acquired many godfathers, godmothers, spiritual brothers, spiritual sisters, right, including Celia, godsons and goddaughters. The late chief Buddhist priest, the most venerable Dr. Sri K. Dhammananda, and the late Catholic Cardinal, His Eminence Cardinal Soto Fernandez, were both my godfathers. Right? They both of them manja me. Several times I did my Muslim prayers in the late chief's bedroom in the Buddhist Mahavihara in Brickfields when I visited him. Imagine a Muslim praying in the chief Buddhist priest bedroom in the main temple, main Buddhist temple in Kuala Lumpur.
In Brickfields, right?
Yeah.
In Brickfields.
Yeah. And the current chief priest, the most venerable Dato Dhammaratana, who is his nephew, is also my godbrother. The late global leader of the Hare Krishna community, His Holiness Bhaktis Varupa Damodara Swami Sripada Maharaj, more famously known as Dr. T.D. Singh, was also my godfather. Two of my godfathers are alive. They are my Sikh godfather, Sardar Hacharan Singh, who is here in KL, and His Holiness Jagat Guru Maharishi Paranjyotia Mahan of Tirumurti Hills, Coimbatore, India.
I think somebody is there raising. No. All right. Sorry. I thought somebody whom you invited him for this talk. He raised a hand.
Okay. Must remember, I will be 67 years old next week. All right. So it's not surprising that most of my godfathers and godmothers are elderly or have passed on. I have three Hindu godmothers. The first is Datin Paduka Mangalam, Mother Mangalam, the life president of the Pure Life Society. The second is Tan Sri Devaki Krishna, right? Many of you may know her. The first person to win an election in Malayan history. By the way, she will be 100 years next year.
Wow.
All right. And the third is a Madam Paravati Amal of Ampang. I have many spiritual brothers and sisters of various religions. All right. Some of them are watching this interview tonight, and they can vouch if I walk the talk. That is whether I respect and love others always.
Wonderful.
When I meet my Creator, I want to be able to stand proudly and declare that I have loved many regardless of race or religion, and they in turn have loved me too. And many took me as their godson or godbrother. In fact, I also have goddaughters, godsons, and godgrandchildren now. All right. So I think that answers your question whether I walk the talk or not. So it's not that it's not what I say. It's all those people who have loved me and have adopted me as their godson, especially the ones you should ask.
Wonderful. Wow, so well said and so beautiful. Actually, I have wanted to ask you about your experience in relation with your interfaith work, but you have already said it already so nicely. So it's very wonderful. And yeah, can you elaborate a little bit more about, you talk about love, respect, and maybe cooperation with one another, despite so many differences we have, so many beliefs difference we have, so that we can live in peace and prosper together. Besides this, what other virtues you feel would help us in this journey so that we can live in peace and harmony together? Because I know that you're very passionate about in harmony, in unity. And when something like that happens, it saddens you. So what are the other things you think or feel that we can do to improve the relationship so that we work together, we cooperate together?
Okay. The way I see it is, I mentioned earlier on that of all the things that tend to divide us, it is religions that divide us the deepest. Whereas for many of the people who believe in the religions also believe in God, and if they believe in God, no matter how different they understand God, the God that they believe, I am sure, tell them to love the others, right? To love and respect the others, okay? So you can say that almost all religions, we can divide into the teachings in two parts. One is the theology about God. And then the other part is then what to do, right? That what to do include how to know God, how to serve God, and then how to react, how you should live with the others, and all other duties. So most of us, most of the people, get carried away, right, on the second part, the differences part, to the point that then they ignore the commandment of God, that they so much say that they all do everything for the love of God. They're willing to die for God. But when it comes to the commandment, as mentioned again and again in my sharing earlier on, that people forget and ignore the commandment to love others despite our differences. So that's why people, when it comes to religion, people are willing to kill each other. You can look around. All over the world, religious conflicts happen, whereas the teaching of each religion is against conflicts and against discrimination of others. So how to solve the problem is to go back and understand the teachings of your respective religions. All right? And this is where spirituality comes in. Because people of religion with shallow understanding are the ones who tend to hate and fight the others who don't carry the same religious label as them. The spiritual people within these different religious labels and different religions, they have no problems with the others. They love each other. All right? So, that's why when I see anyone of any religion, my first instinct is to love that person. And I hope it is reciprocated. So I hope, we can get people to go back to what the God teaches them about their relationship with others, that they should love others, right? Even though they have different understanding of God and what God wants them to do. Okay, I think that's almost like a sermon.
Oh, thank you so much. And now we are almost coming to the end of tonight's program. So do you have any parting messages for the audience? What is your hope and vision for the Brahma Kumaris Malaysia.
Okay, first I'd like to congratulate Brahma Kumari Malaysia on its 40th anniversary celebrations, and for the community to continue doing all the good work you all have been doing over these last 40 years. And I would also encourage the community to do more in terms of social welfare work, especially looking into the needs of the poor and needy. You know, our B40 grown bigger. I think probably now B60. After 2 years of pandemic, many families suffer, and I think many need our help. And I think Brahma Kumaris Malaysia, with the facilities that you have and the manpower and the membership that you have, you can help them more. Remember, the highest service to God is service to humanity. And the highest service to humanity is to help ensure that people can live harmoniously and safely in peace and prosperity. Okay. And I would like to thank the organizers of this conversation series for inviting me, and my dear sister Celia Wong for being such a gracious interviewer. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you very
Assalamualaikum, Om Shanti.
Thank you very much, first of all, for accepting our invitation. And well, we have heard your sharing, and it's very beautiful. And as I've said earlier, you wrote beautifully, and I love everyone. I really like that statement. I love all of humanity, and you encourage as many people to love others too. I really wish everyone could be like that, like you, so that this world will be a better place to live in. So thank you so much, everyone, and for joining us today. And I think, dear brothers and sisters, thank you for joining us, and hope you have enjoyed this session. And please do join us for the next session on Thursday, following Thursday, not next Thursday, the Thursday, 24th of November, 2022. And the speaker is Madam Jenny Ma, and the anchor is Sister Susan. So now let's remember the Supreme, remember the Divine, and with that song, and we will be sharing what we call Drishti, pure vision, the vision and the wish from our heart that all will be well, all will be happy and peaceful in whatever you're doing. And let us now remember the Supreme, remember the Divine. Thank you so much again, everyone, and thank you, Dr. Amir. Om Shanti.
In the stillness of this moment, there is peace. There is peace. In the stillness of this moment, there is peace. There is peace, and I rest and trust and breathe and know that in the stillness of this moment there